More whistleblowers are coming out of the woodwork, and Senator Ron Johnson's been pretty busy contacting them. And here he is. Senator, what have whistleblowers come forward and told you?
Well, we are getting, literally gigabytes worth of information in terms of video downloads. We have body cams. Unlike with you, local law enforcement is actually cooperating with us.
Good.
The feds are really doing nothing. It's been 2 weeks since Acting Director Rowe told senators in that hearing that we would be having access to Secret Service personnel for transcribed interviews in days, not weeks. We're hopeful that next week it'll happen. That's 2 weeks since he testified. But the bottom line is, I think what our investigation in the end will be is an investigation of the investigation. That's sad, but this is not the way you really handle a credible investigation. If you've got a crime, you've got multiple perpetrators, what law enforcement does is try and apprehend those people and then interview them separately. I mean, if we're really talking 4, 5, 6 weeks before Congress has an opportunity to interview the Secret Service personnel on the ground, does that give them time to get their stories straight? We've requested, by the way, the day after the incident, I wrote to Director Wray, Attorney General Garland, demanding, first of all, they preserve all the records, and asking a host of questions and requesting all these interviews. Still haven't heard any response from that request at all. I'm part now of a bipartisan investigation of our committees and our subcommittee. We need Democrats to at least threaten to compel testimony because we're just not getting the information from the feds, which is, from my standpoint, not unusual. I've been trying to do oversight on federal agencies for years, and they've just refused to be accountable to the American public. They are the law. They believe they're above the law, and that's the way they're acting right now.
I'm so glad that the locals are cooperating with you, because if we can get those body cameras or any sort of radio communication or text messages, that could be really key. Had you heard anything about if the locals had fired any rounds at Crooks?
Yeah, we haven't. That's one of the things that kind of surprised me that Acting Director Rowe didn't mention that last week. We were briefed by local law enforcement who made that claim. We've got a request in to interview that officer. That was a story written by the Washington Post, and nobody's really talking about it. It's really surprising. The other thing that I think local law enforcement is I think, legitimately concerned about and upset about is the fact that the pictures that Rowe showed the Senate, the vantage point that local law enforcement have are completely false. You'd have to be leaning outside the windows. They were actually concealed behind the windows, again, trying to pin the blame on local law enforcement when it was a failure of the Secret Service.
Wow. So they're accusing the director of manipulating the visuals to prove that the sight line was off. That's pretty damning if that turns out to be the case. Well, great job. I know your office is working really hard. I saw you in Milwaukee. Good to see you again. Thank you so much, Senator. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.